Okay, so I guess it will be automatically recorded, right? So
I can't hear you. Your voice is very feeble.
audible? Hello,
Yeah, your voice
hello.
is very feeble.
My voice is
Feeble, feeble.
okay. Okay, just give me 1 minute. Now it's clear.
Let me just connect my speaker. 1 second.
Okay, okay, sure, sure.
Yeah, can you talk now?
Yeah, yeah, sure. Now I guess am I audible, right? Clearly.
Yeah. Yes, yes.
Okay, okay, sure. Okay, so we will start, right? So let me tell you the overall the structure or the pattern that we will follow, right? So
Okay.
clear to you also, right? So what we will do in the generative AI, right? So we will basically start with a kind of maybe today's class will be the kind of foundation, right? A kind of foundation one for a 1 hour, right? So that will give you kind of information also that why the previous neural network was not working, then it came to the transformer and all, right? Next, what we will do, we will see the transformer architecture, okay, the complete architecture with code, right? We will do the coding part also and we'll tell you, okay, this is how the transformer is made. Like in the third step, what we will do, we will try to fine tune one model, right? We will do the fine tuning part, and this fine tuning I will basically explain you some of the key concepts, okay? After that we'll go for the code, right? Next, what we will do, we will do the pre-training of the model, okay? Pre-training of the model along with some key concept plus code, right?
Okay.
Next, when you are done with these things, that means okay, now you are able to ingest your data, right? Whatever data you have, suppose it could be from the legal domain, it could be from the finance domain, and so on, right? So what we will try to do, we will use these model, right? We will try to use this model to basically perform the different tasks, right? So after that, what we will see some key concept. We will see what is lang chain, lang flow, right? And after that we will go to rag also, right? How we can use the rag. Next, what we will do, we will try to move to the some security purpose, right? What are the security concepts in generative AI? We will see this also, right? Once you are able to perform this thing, we will see the security, and just after the security thing, we will try to apply agents, right? Because the agents are very important, because these are basically some you can say a kind of key, or you can say the foundation behind your automation task, okay? So this is something important, right? We will see the agents, and after that we will perform some projects also, right? A kind of project that will include the agent, some will include the pre-training of the model, and so on. So we will basically take the different domains, such as we will take some legal domain, right? Maybe we will go for healthcare also, right? And we will go for fintech also, okay? So we will perform some kind of projects, and after that, once we are good to go with the project, we will try to deploy in the server. That how one can use in web or the app application, right? So this is
Okay.
the last process, because by using the web and the app, this thing, the end user will basically able to access your complete whatever you have made, right?
Okay.
So this is the till here this will be major thing. In between there will be some small key concept that we will try to cover, right? So I will try to give you the complete knowledge whatever happened from 2009, 2000 you can say 19 onward till today, right? Your deep seek model, if you have heard about, right?
Yeah,
That
yeah. DeepSeek is very famous.
Yeah. So we will try to cover each and every concept, so that I can promise that you won't lack any kind of concept. Okay, why this is not happening. In between, we will also see evaluation parameters of your model, right? That how you can evaluate your large language model, on which benchmark your large language model is being evaluated, whether OpenAI is performing good or DeepSeek is performing good, that they follow the kind of metrics, right, for the evaluation purpose. So I guess this is much more enough, and will give you everything in detail overview, or you can say that depth knowledge, right? And if you want to include anything, so we can go for that also in between, right? Okay. So shall we start? I guess, right?
Yes, please.
Okay. Okay. Clear now. This thing. Any kind of changes. See, I'm very open that if you want to make any kind of changes, you want to suggest any kind of changes. No, we should go for this also, this also. So there is no issue with that. Okay.
No,
So we
my
will.
point is, see, I'm going to be applying jobs as a data science manager.
Mhm.
So I need this. What your curriculum is very good. This is what I need. But
Yeah.
as a data science manager or as a generative AI manager, how should I tackle that role? Do you have
Yeah.
any?
Exactly. See, if you will, whoever become a data science manager, he was previously a kind of lead, right?
Yes.
And that person should know all these things in very detail, from making the model, fine tuning, and the pre-training till deployment of that particular model, right? So I guess this is much more enough, uh, because till here this is the sufficient, and you won't get anything, okay, that is apart from this topic in any
No,
anywhere.
my question is, I'm enhancing my resume, right? I'm adding experience. So
Hmm.
Gen AI has been only, it's been just 3 years in the industry.
Yeah.
If I show this experience, and then how can I be a data science manager? I mean, I have been doing technical role, right? I cannot show managerial experience, right? In this,
For that purpose, you can say, okay, you have guided and all those things to your juniors or whatever the team you have, right? And what kind of project that you have performed. Maybe you can take any kind of industry. Maybe it could be from the legal, right? And it could be from the healthcare industry. Any kind of industry you want to take. So we will see. After learning these things, now you need to focus on one concept, one domain. So I guess that will give the more impact to your resume. Okay, that particular person is good in this domain, right? So if we talk about not text or a kind of you can say image or the video data set, right? So vision transformer is also there, and the normal transformer is also there, right? So
yes.
it will depend upon how you have worked, on what kind of project you have worked, okay, or what kind of project you get from the client and that you solve their requirement. It totally depend upon that thing. Maybe if you will bring, or I will also try to bring a kind of project right from the uh, in freelancer website. We will see, right, if we get some kind of projects, we will try to solve that project, right? I have one project that table data to extract the table and save into your excel sheet. So it was a kind of project for Maruti Suzuki. So
Mm.
I did this thing, right? It was basically using the LLM table, large language model table concept. Okay,
Okay.
so this
No,
was the.
you understand my point, right? What I'm trying to tell you. What I'm trying to say is, see, Gen AI experience is really good, but if I showed Gen AI experience, how can I apply for a data science manager role? I don't have managerial experience, right? I'll be having Gen AI experience, technical experience.
For that, I don't have any idea
So
that.
far, so
Yeah.
far, what I did is machine learning projects as a data science manager.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm showing you. Shows how will this Gen AI info knowledge, how can I embed in my resume as what, I mean, can a manager do Gen AI projects?
Manager can't do directly, but he or she can basically lead the team, which is basically solving some generative AI based project,
That's
right?
what I'm saying. So while leading the team, knowing this is important, but as a manager, I should know something else, right? Along with this for Gen AI.
Maybe kind of tools also, right? Maybe
Do you
kind
know
of.
that? Would you be knowing that?
No, no, no. As per no code tool, I don't use anything. Right? So whatever is related to the code, I basically focus on those concepts only. Maybe this kind of no code tool, but they are. I don't think they have been in use, right? Because I don't think in current scenario there is anyone who is basically sitting in the data science generative AI manager position, and he is knowing all those stuff, right? Because it is a very very new tech. So maybe you can consult Samir sir also. Maybe he will help you out that.
Okay.
And
Okay.
as per the see, if you want to show okay, you are the generative AI manager. So I guess the project plays the very very vital role, right? Whatever the project that you will do, so that will definitely give you a kind of enhancement in your resume. Okay, so that person knows this concept and he know okay how to deal with all those things. So what I feel, right?
Okay.
Okay. So, right. Okay. So what we will do? We'll try to start with the quick basic. Okay. We will cover in a 1 hour, right? Whatever the basic concept we have. After that, we will try to move on. That you have covered deep learning concept. That CNN, LSTM, RNN, all those
I
things.
had covered it, but I forgot. I mean, it's been some months now. But that's okay. You can start from transformer. It's fine.
Okay.
Oh, you want to show how or why all of those failed and what is the need for LLMs? You want to show me that?
A kind of introduction that from the generative AI to the transformer, right? So that will not take, I guess, so today's class we can dedicate for that. So that will make a kind of foundation. From the next class, we can start with the transformer architecture. Fine?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So just a quick minute. Okay. So so this kind of architecture, right? The many people have seen this kind of architecture. Your AI, the machine learning, the substrate of AI. Again, we have the deep learning, and inside the deep learning, we will have your generative AI, and inside the generative AI, we get some large language model, or you can say a small language model, right? SML. Okay, so this is the kind of overview you can say, right? That how they are correlated with each other. Okay, after that what we will see that what is generative AI and why it came into existence, what was the basically you can say the background of the generative AI, and what are the use cases, and primarily for what purpose it came into existence, right? So if we talk about the generative AI, so it was basically uh, generative AI is nothing but a kind of you can say a concept, like that totally based upon the neural network, and that was basically came for one reason, that was basically your NLP, natural language processing. And in natural language processing, the important part was that to communicate with the computer, right? This was the main, or you can say the important aspect, because of that, this neural network came into existence. That neural network, you can say the transformer, right? The major reason was that, okay, to communicate with system, or you can say the computer or the machine, okay. So unlike the traditional AI that we have, right, so that was not able to perform that much good as compared to this generative AI, or the transformer is able to perform the task, okay. So if we talk about some kind of the model that we have, right? So the model, the GPT, we have a kind of neural network. We have the GAN, the generative adversarial network, right? Variational autoencoder. I will give you the brief introduction of all these things, and we'll jump to this part, right? So, and generative AI, everyone knows, okay, generative AI is a kind of a technology that basically generate the thing, right? Whatever kind of prompt that you will give, it will basically is able to generate some kind of text. It will autofill the text. It will basically help you to generate some kind of music, right? Even today's few years back, right, it was also able to generate some kind of videos in the form of GIF or normal MP4 also, okay. And it help in the coding assistance also, that is much used by the developers and other person, okay. So this is the a kind of importance of generative AI, that it's able to solve the task very easily, okay, making the life of person very easily, right. Now, what are the kind of prerequisite? So Python, right, along with that some key concept of the deep learning also, right. And in deep learning, you should know, okay, how you can train the model, what are the hyperparameter tuning and all those things, because these things will be required when we will train the transformer, okay, or whenever we will do the fine tuning part, right, or we will do the pre-training part. So at that scenario, these concept of deep learning will comes into uh, scenario, right. So these things are very important, right. If you don't have this knowledge that deep learning is much more depth, the overview will also work, okay. Next, starting with the deep learning, right. So sorry, generative AI, right, starting with that generative AI. So we basically seen in the market that generative AI is nothing but the people are using the another name as the large language model, right? Or you have heard about the small language model, SLM. Okay. So when did it came into existence, and what was the basic, okay, and the reason also. So in 2017, everyone knows that the paper came into the existence. Attention, all you need. Okay. So this was a kind of you can say a very important paper in the history of AI, right? That has transformed everything, okay. Unlike you were using some kind of traditional deep learning method, so it has transformed everything and gives birth to a kind of new neural network that is known as transformer, okay. On the top of the transformer, we can see LLM is made. On the top of the transformer, we have seen the SLM is also made, right, the small language model. Okay. So how they have been made? Basically, all those have been trained on the large amount of data set. Okay. And these data set came into from internet, from the books, from the articles, and many more things. Okay. So if we talk about the difference between your large language model and the small language model, so they are mainly differed on the basis of the parameter it has been trained, right? The parameter, or you can say the data set. So you have heard about 7 million parameters, 70 million parameters, and so on, right? So these are nothing but the data set we are talking about, right? How much data we are using to train the particular neural network, right? And that neural network is transformers. So, and this was basically helping you to basically perform your the task of your NLP, right? Natural language processing and sequence to sequence task, okay, for your textual data. So we will see this thing, right? A kind of overview, your LLM and the small language model, right? Now, uh, just a minute. Okay. So if we talk about the small language model, right? So a small language model, you can take the, in case of large language model, you can take the example of Llama. Llama 2 we have, right? We have Llama 3, Llama 2 we have, right? And we have OpenAI. It is also kind of GPT, right? You can take GPT 4.5 or GPT 3. And they are also kind of large language model. That means they have been trained on the large data set. Okay. Now, if we talk about the fewer data sets, right? So the model that have been trained on the small amount of data set, so they are known as Phi 1, Phi 2, Lamini, right? Phi 1 and Phi 2, they are the of Microsoft, right? The model of the Microsoft, and Lamini is the model of Meta. That's like Llama and Llama 2 are the model of Meta, right? So they have been trained on the fewer data set as compared to your large language model, that means your GPT-3 and 4, right? And small language models are very, very important because sometimes they act as the domain specific model that we will see, right? We will train some model on a specific domain data. So that will completely act as the, maybe it will act as the healthcare small language model. Maybe it will act as the for the education purpose, right? Whatever the query you will give, it will basically give you the result from that education sector, from the healthcare and maybe other domain. Okay. So small language model is also act as the some kind of domain specific model, right? And the reason being is that using the small language model is that it basically take less cost, right? Less cost to train the complete model. Okay, because the cost is very, very important. So as everyone knows that large language model, if we talk about the small language model, they are taking a large amount of money, right? And so that is very, very expensive in nature. So small language models are much more preferred, okay, that are not that much expensive, right? And resource management can be done very, very easily in the small language model, and many much more things, right? So you can see reduced model size we have, right? Resource efficiency, resource is low, so the management is very, very easy, right? Domain specific use, legal, medical, customization is also there. You can fine tune, right, based upon the performance. If you want to include more information, so what you can do, you can just add the data set, right? Whatever the data set you have with your small language model. So let's suppose if you are adding much more data on this small language model, so that will ultimately become a large language model. So parameter need to be considered while you are making the small language model. Okay, so this amount of parameter should be already present in this, right? So you should not exceed the parameter while you are training your small language model. So this thing need to be taken into consideration, right? After that, fast inference means that you will get the quick response from the small language model as compared to your large language model. Okay, because that is taking the very small amount of the memory, right? And yes, everyone knows that there is a small model or the large language. So a small model is very, very reliable also in terms of resources also, and in terms of retrieval also. Okay, so this was the kind of quick difference between your small and the large language. Okay, now moving towards that, everyone knows that okay, everything is started with the text data, right? Everyone was working on the textual for many years. After that, once they get success on that textual data, they move to some multimodality. That means they are now started working on the images data set, right? On the video data set and so on, right? Once you combine these things, that will basically form your multimodal, right? So multimodal is a model that will basically deal with both the things. It will basically help you to give the textual response also, right? It will help you to give the image form response also, image, or you can see the video, right? Just like we can see in OpenAI, right? You can generate your image also, you can get the text also. So it is a kind of multimodal, large language multimodal LLM, right? So if we talk about the specific this image and the video, so you can just check out Mid Journey is also there, right? Stable Diffusion, DALL-E is there, right? So these are your the model that basically give you the result in terms of the images or video. Okay, because these are also kind of key concept or the important feature while you are performing some kind of model learning and other thing. Okay, so this is the concept of multimodality or the large multimodal LLM, right? Okay, now just going to how you can basically train or how you can make your own LLM, right? How you can make your own LLM or how you can make your own small language model, right? So the number of steps are moreover same, right? Just like you train a normal your AI model or the machine learning model, right? So the first step will be the data collection, right? So data collection need to be done in a very good way, right? So everyone knows, okay, if you will give the some garbage data, so you will always get the garbage, right? Garbage in, that's mean garbage out. So please ensure that your data should be always in a very good way, right? It should be always in structured way. So for making the structured, what we do a kind of pre-processing, right? We do the pre-processing of the data. Once we collected the data, the collection can be done by the various method. You can do the web scraping also. You can just take the help of APIs also. You can upload the books also, right? Many things. Once you get the data, just structure those data, right? We need to do the pre-processing of the data set. Once you are done, then we have to perform the tokenization, right? Or you can say plus we can do vectorization also. Okay, so what we will do, we will basically divide our data into some tokens, right? Tokens are nothing but let's suppose I am writing I just let's suppose I am writing hello hi, right? The tokens are nothing but word representation, you can say, in computer science, right? This is one token, this is the second token, right? So we need to basically break our complete data set, whatever we have, into the token. After that, we will basically convert these tokens into form of numbers, right? So this is a kind of tokenization plus vectorization process, right? Once we get our vectors, or you can say your textual data get converted into the form of the number. So what we will do, we will do uh, the model training, right? And model training will be done with some kind of the neural network architecture that you have, right? So kind of architecture. So for that, we will use the transformer. Okay, so this is the important thing. Okay, we will use the transformer for training our complete AI model, right? Once you are done with this thing, we will train this thing. So after that, if you want to do kind of optimization, right, we can go for the optimization. Or before that, if you want to check for the performance also, so you can check the performance also, right? If the performance is not that much of good, what you can do optimization technique, right? Again, you can just evaluate your model, right? Once you evaluate your model, right, and you can just deploy in web server or any kind of server that you want, right? So this is the complete process, that how a small language model or a normal small language or the large language model made up of, right? So here now in this scenario, if you are taking the small data set, so that will uh, give you the small language model. If you are taking the large amount of data set, so that will give you the large language model, right? So the same thing. We will see these things in code when we will perform the coding part. So at that scenario, you will see, okay, so these are the steps that we were following, right? Okay, so now taking a quick, a kind of quick overview that what is NLP, right? And why it is very, very important. So NLP is a very, very important topic, right? Natural language processing is a kind of very, very important topic in deep learning. Okay, and why very it is very, very important, because it help you to communicate with the system, right, or to communicate with the machine. And if the person can communicate the machine with the very, very effectively, right, so that will make the person or the people's life easy. Yes, so the life will be very, very easy. Okay, so this is the major reason why the peoples are preferring the NLP engineer. You have heard about many peoples are the NLP engineer. So their basic job is to make the things in such a way that the people can communicate with that particular device or the particular machine in very, very much easy way, right? So that is why NLP is there, and because of the NLP, we have seen the GPT and other things, right? So NLP is a field of AI that focus on understanding and processing the human language. LLM, on the other hand, are the specific model that is used within the NLP, right? So we are using our LLM or the small language model to perform this thing, right? To help the people, to help the machine, right, in the field of NLP, right? So this is the kind of you can say the differentiation between the NLP or the LLM, or you can say how these two are basically related to each other, right? After that, you will see that this one more thing is that Chat GPT, right? Chat GPT is not a LLM that everyone know now. What is LLM? So the people used to do say Chat GPT. Chat GPT is not a LLM. GPT is the LLM. The chat is a kind of application, right? So the combined is a kind of application, right? Application powered by GPT, right? If we talk about the large language model, so your GPT is a large language model, generative pre-trained transformer. Okay, and we have seen the example 3.5 and 4 GPT, Omega 1, and so on, right? So this was the quick overview between your NLP, and basically everything whatever you are seeing in generative AI or the whatever you learn in the large language model or small language model, all are basically related with NLP task, right? We are basically trying to make that particular thing in very, very easy way. Okay, so right, so you can see this a kind of uh, roadmap, you can't say, a kind of progress, right, that started with this Elijah 1967, right, a kind of model. Then we have one more model in 1970, in 1980, then 1988 the RNN came into existence, right? So there was the drawback of the RNN. Because of that, LSTM came in 1997, and after many years the transformer came into existence, right? So from the transformer we have made the bird GPT, right? By advancing these techniques we made GPT-2, Roberta, XLNet. Again the advancement has been made, came into GPT-3, GPT-5, Palm, GPT, and so on, right? See, 2021 there was only model. After that it has converted into Chat GPT in 2022. So because of this, now this Chat GPT, it become very, very famous. Although GPT it was existing, right, but it was of no use for the people, right, for the end users. That's why it was not that much famous. It was just limited to the researcher and they were performing the kind of stuff and so on, right? So once they basically added the chat code with this GPT, right? So it basically came into the use case of the end user, and it just a kind of jump in the AI field. Okay, and after that we have seen many more things till DeepSeek, right? So a kind of cycle, you can say, a kind of journey of chat GPT, right? Or GPT, or the large language model, you can say. Okay. Okay, so just a kind of a quick that what are the AI model, like? So if we talk about the Google, so Google have made Farm to Gemini Pro Vision for this multimodal. Like if we talk about the Meta, we have Llama 2, and so on. And if we talk about the open source model, so okay, so open source model. Let me tell you what are the open source model, right? And your closed source model. So open source model, the contributed by people, right? Contributed by people. They are not some company specific, right? The peoples are contributing and making them, right? Or the code is visible to everyone, right? They have some public repository, right? They have the public repo in the GitHub that everyone basically contribute, and there is uh, you can say it is free to use for everyone, right? Everyone can use, free to use, right? Because it is mainly contributed by the people. If we talk about the sorry, this was your open source, right? Right. And if we talk about the closed source, like it is moreover specific to some company. So just like we have GPT, right? So GPT is basically specific to the company, right? If we talk about 5.1, 5.2, so these are your closed source model. Okay, so they have been made by the developer of that particular company, and they charge if you want to use, right? In certain scenario. So open source model, we have Llama 2, Palm, Falcon, Cloud, MP3, and Stable LM, right? So these are kind of open source model. So okay, so till here we have seen what are the open source model and what are the closed source model of the different giant company that we have seen, right? And okay, so now this is something very interesting, right? And maybe you are aware of this topic, prompt engineering, right? And everyone is basically nowadays a kind of prompt engineer himself, right? Because he used to do touch basically talk with some kind of GPT, right? Or the chat GPT, Claude, you can say, or the DeepSeek model, right? So prompt engineering is a kind of process of designing or redefining the prompt effectively to interact with the AI model. Okay, particularly with the large language GPT-3 and the 4, from where you want to basically retrieve your query, right? You want to get the answer of your particular query. Okay, so why it is very important? The reason being that still a kind of prompt, you can say, is still is a kind of language specific, right? Just like we have studied now Python. The Python is having kind of syntax, right? So prompt engineering is nothing but a very, you can say, easy way, right, to write the same thing whatever you want to write in the Python. But again, it will need some kind of syntax or some kind of word, so that our LLM can understand those requirement or those query in a very good way, right? So this is the kind of, you can say, the prompt engineering, or you can, on the layman language, you can say a kind of a good writing practice, so that LLM can understand what the user want to say, right, in a very good way, and give the accurate answer. So this is the prompt engineering technique, right? And it's come from practice to practice, or there are some kind of courses are also available, right? So people used to learn the prompt engineering. Okay, so if you will give this particular word, and you will use this word, so you will get the more good result, right? So this is prompt engineering, but for the tech guy, this prompt engineering is not that much important, right? So after that, we will see some purpose. The same thing, obtaining the accurate and the relevant response from your AI model, right? Technique involve your experimenting with different wording, right? If you didn't get the correct answer, again try, right? So this is the same thing, okay? Importance, improve the quality and the usefulness of the AI generated response. That if you are not a good prompt engineer, maybe you will take the 5 attempt to get the answer. If you know, okay, so this is how you can write, so maybe you will take 1 to 2 attempts to get the desired answer, right? So this is the kind of prompt engineering, right? Now, talking about this uh, different that framework we have, right? So we have the LangChain, right? The framework in the LLM application. Let's suppose you have developed your large language model application. Now, what to do? Let's suppose this is your GPT model, right? Lying over here. Now, what you will do? You will interact with this GPT model, right? Maybe you will write some kind of query, but how you can write? You need some kind of tools, right? Maybe you need some kind of a tech, right? Maybe you need some kind of UI, right? Or maybe you need some kind of chain, okay, to interact with this model, right? Once your query will be go inside this GPT model, it will basically give you the response, right? Now we will see what are the framework, or you can say the kind of tools or the technique that have been used to interact with your large language model application in order to basically build a complete uh, you can say the large language model app or a website, right? So the first we have the LangChain, right? So LangChain is a very popular framework, right? Designed to simplify the integration, utilization of the LLM application, right? Anyone who want to interact with this GPT, just use the LangChain, okay? A kind of framework, or you can say library also, okay? Designed by the developer, right? So there is a company called like as LangChain, so they have designed, okay? So you can basically interact with this particular GPT model, okay, using this LangChain framework. So we will see when we will done with that pre-training, na, when we will use that model. So at that scenario, we will use this LangChain, right? So we will basically interact with our model. So it provides the utility for managing the prompt, chaining the together multiple number of queries, right, or the multiple LLM also, and handling the response effectively. Okay, so context management for the chatbot, you can say, for the virtual dynamic content generation, many use cases we have, right? So this is the one thing. So in a, you know, just in a layman language, in an easy way, you can remember the LangChain is a kind of framework just to interact with the LLM or the small language model. That's it, right? Next we have, next you will see the Chainlit, right? So Chainlit is also kind of, you can say, a kind of conversational, it is a kind of tool, right? Mainly used for that chatbot purpose. Okay. So Chainlit is also kind of designed for conversational application powered by the LLM. It moreover is basically focus on the user-friendly interface or the seamless between the user and the AI interaction. If you want to interact, then you can use this thing, right? Not that much popular because this thing can be, this feature of Channel 8 can be solved with the LangChain itself also, right? So it is not that much famous, but it is the kind of framework. So we have just seen, okay. Next, we have that Llama Index, right? This is also kind of very popular. You can say the framework that we have in the generative AI, right? Llama Index and the LangChain. Okay, so a kind of framework aim for indexing and querying the large data set using the LLM, right? And it enable the efficient data retrieval and enhance the AI ability to work with the structured and the unstructured data, right? It's a quite important feature, right? Your Llama Index. because it's basically help you. Let's suppose you are using a kind of RAG technique. Maybe if you are aware about the RAG is a kind of technique by which we basically retrieve our query from our large language model, right? And before using the RAG, you are doing a kind of fine tuning of your data set, right? So at that scenario, that Llama index will be useful. Okay, so maybe I can just give you this example. Let's suppose you want to basically focus on this book, right? You want to focus on this book, and this is your GPT model. Okay, so to basically target some kind of index value, right? So for targeting that index value, okay, just go and retrieve the query from this book. So at that scenario, your Llama index comes into existence, right? Mainly basically focusing, or you can say the main use cases will, you can say focusing on the data set, right? Does not matter whether your data is structured or not. So whenever we do the fine tuning, right, we always give the unstructured data in nature, right? We have a piles of books, so you can say we have a large document that we will basically fine tune with the large language model, and we use the RAG technique. Okay, so this is the one scenario that it's your Llama index is moreover used for your indexing and querying the large data set. So this is your large data set, right? So it will help you to index, and once it is indexed, you can just give your query, will give you the answer, right? And this pipeline can be made with the help of LangChain, right? Whatever the pipeline you are trying to make. Okay. So the use case are same as you will see for the advanced retrieval, processing capabilities, knowledge management system, enterprise search engine, and data analysis tool. Right. So these are some kind of use cases that we will see in Lamande. We will see these things practically also. I will show you when we will basically import the libraries of other framework of the Llama index. Will show you, okay, so this line will basically help you to target that particular document. Okay, whatever document we will have, maybe it will be in the PDF format, maybe it will be in the Word or in the text format, right? So that will represent this scenario. Okay, so these are the few important kind of framework that we will study in our large language model once we are done with making the model, right, after pre-training steps. Okay, now, okay, now we have seen, okay, data. We have just started our lecture with the data, right? Now, what are data, and why they are very useful, right? So you can say data, a collection of information, right? And I already told you that whenever we have seen that training part of the large language model, I told you that what we are doing, we are basically converting our textual data into your numerical data, right? So suppose you have the large amount of the numerical data, so what you will do? You will try to store somewhere, right? So these numerical data is nothing but they will represent the vectors, right? Vector is basically kind of embedding, you can say, right? Embedding, or you can say the numerical representation of your text is called the embedding. Just like you can see over here, the cat is on the mat, so this is the vector representation. So for cat, you can see this is the vector representation for the cat, for is on the mat, right? So from textual, it's come into your numerical form. Now our job will be to basically store these things, right? So for storing these things, we basically use vector databases, right? So vector databases, a kind of database that store your numerical data set, right? Just like we have no, MySQL, we have Oracle, right? We have Workbench, okay, right? So in the same way, we have the vector database also, and one more advanced database we have. One is graph database that we will also see. when we will try to make a kind of recommendation system, right? So at that scenario, I will tell you, okay, now we are using the graph database. So Facebook also use the graph database to basically show the mutual friends and all those things, right? The future, okay. So the graph database is also very very important to show the relationship between the different entities, okay. And graph data, a vector database is nothing but the numerical representation of your textual data. We will see that how we can basically perform, okay. So there are few techniques in deep learning, right, by which how you can basically convert your textual data into your numerical format, okay. And once it is converted into the numerical format, just use some vector databases to store. So if we talk about the examples of the vector databases, so we have ChromaDB, right? We have LaunchDB, we have Neo4j, okay, and there are many vector databases present in the uh, entire world, right? So you can use any one of them, which is the uh, cheap, right, and is very very flexible to use, or you can say easy to use, right? So this is the one scenario, okay. So maybe I have written, right. See, vector databases are the specialized databases designed to store, search, manage the vectorized data. That means your textual data, right? Once you store, you just give your query. That query will be also converted into the numbers, right? And due to some similarity match process and all those things, so that we will figure out later on that how it basically working, okay? When we will seeing the transformer architecture part. So it go and basically will retrieve your data, right, and reconvert your the numerical data into your textual format, right. So embedding from your machine learning model, so these databases are optimized for the similarity searches, enabling efficient and the accurate retrieval of your data point, whatever that you have stored in your data set, right, close to the given in a high dimensional space, right. And a few examples are ChromaDB, Waviat, Pinecone, OpenAI, Face, right. So Face is Facebook AI similarity search, right, a kind of database designed by the Facebook. And Pinecone is also ChromaDB, and LaunchDB is also there, right? And we have Neo4j is also there, and there are many more data set. If you don't want to go with that, so what you can do, you can also use your, you can also make your own, right, packet, okay, or in the other word we can say Parquet, right, the Parquet of the vector, whatever the vector you have, right, you can also make and store in your local file also, and you can do the same thing, right, in the local. But if we talk about the cloud and all those things, so we prefer to use these kind of database, right. So this is very very important that whenever we are dealing with a kind of fine tuning technique or the pre-training technique, so we often go and use the vector databases, right. Next, we will see some kind of tools, right? So let's suppose we had made some small language model and we are good to go to deploy in the server, right? And let's suppose you don't know the the front end part in very very good way, right? But okay, you want to just figure out that how it will look for the end user. So there are some kind of tools or the framework that have been designed, right, for those people who don't have that much of hands-on experience on the front end part, right? So they can go with. The first one is the Streamlit, the quite easy, right? And it is an open source framework that will basically able to help you to create the quick web application that you can basically create also and you can manage also. Next we have Gradio, fast API, right? So a kind of framework to get your data, right? And after that we have the Flask. It is completely based upon the Python concept that will basically give you it is a kind of light, you can say, a framework that will basically form a complete web page, right. Some decorators are there, you just give your query, will give you the response in your screen, right. So we will try with this Streamlit, we will go with this Gradio, right. And maybe I will show you with Django also. the complete application that how you can make. Okay. So, okay. So if we talk about the deployment part also, that where we can deploy our this thing, right? So we have one of the most popular and the open source, your Hugging Face spaces, right? So what the people used to do, they basically take some foundation model, they pre-train or they fine-tune, and they just deploy over here, Hugging Face spaces. And whenever they want to use, they basically call that particular model with the help of API, right? So this is the quite popular for the person who want to just learn these things. Next, we have Amazon Web Service you can use. You can use GCP also, Google Cloud Platform, and after that you can go with Microsoft Azure also, right? And these platform also have some, you can say, uh, paid LLM, right? And you can access these by using some kind of API, right? So you have to purchase that API. So I have the API. I will show you how we can go with this and this, right? So we will use the OpenAI in Microsoft Azure, and here we have Claude, right? We have Llama. So I will tell you how you can use these two, okay, by using AWS service, and same for here also, right? So this was the kind of a quick introduction that how you what were the things in generative AI and how it will start, right? So in the maybe if you are aware about a kind of CNN, right? So these are some key concepts you can say, or 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 you can say the deep learning topic, right? That was very still now they are very popular, but they were much more popular, right, before the transformers. So we have deep learning that mainly deal with the image data set that we have, right? The video data set we have, okay, mainly used for the image recognition, object classification part, right, and many other things, okay. And next we have the RNN, right? RNN, or you can say LSTM. So you can say transformer is the kind of replacement for these two techniques, right? And these two techniques were basically used for the textual data set to deal with the textual data set, and they were basically able to perform the sequence to sequence task, right, in NLP field. So they have their own drawback. So if we talk about the RNN, so what happened in the RNN, it's basically learn the thing for a very short interval of the time, right? And it forget. And if we talk about the LSTM, so LSTM basically learn the thing for a long interval of the time, but basically it don't carry out that particular thing in a long period of time, right? So let's taking a quick example of the story, right? So maybe let's suppose you are basically a good storyteller, right? So I basically tell this with the help of one story example, right? So what happened in the RNN concept? So as soon as you proceed with the story, you will forget your previous part, right? You will forget your previous part. So this is the scenario in RNN concept, right? So they forget your previous part, so you can't make that context that what was the previous concept, right? And in terms of LSTM, it do remember the past concept, right? It do remember the past concept, but it fails when we want to just predict, okay, what will be the next scenario, what will be the next situation, right? So at that scenario, your LSTM fails. Okay, and these two things can be tackled in a very good way with the help of the transformer. Everyone knows, right? You just in the chat GPT, what do? You just upload one paper and you can retrieve n number of queries, right? So there is a kind of memory concept, right? It won't forget anything. It will remember everything, right? And it will basically give you upcoming things also. It will do the kind of regression task also. Okay, that okay, this is the thing. So that could also happen, right? So next, a variational autoencoders we have, right? So a kind of neural network. This is also kind of, so all these are kind of neural network, right? Your RNN, CNN, LSTM, RNN, others, right? Variational autoencoders is also a kind of neural network that mainly deal with the image data set. Like whenever you want to generate the image from your noisy data set, right? At that scenario, we use the VAE and we use the diffusion model, right? So let's suppose now how the GPT works. So you give the some prompt, right? You give the prompt, generate the image of cat, right? So it have this data set, these kinds of data set. Okay, what it will do? Will take your query, will try to make the data set from these noisy data. These are called your noisy data. Okay, so and at last it will basically give you the clear image. So this is could be only possible with the help of the diffusion model, right? So at the back end the diffusion models are working, right? And we have seen the stable diffusion is also kind of example, right? Stable diffusion we have, or we have DALI. Okay, so these are kind of the model that are working with the uh, this. Okay, so this generative adversarial network, totally based upon the reinforcement learning, right? So what happened? Let's suppose you are giving a kind of query, the query to Chat GPT, and it is giving you the wrong answer, right? So if we apply the reinforcement learning, so what will happen? It will basically check automatically. Okay, this query, whatever the model has given, is wrong. Improve it, right? So in generative, or you can say in the generative adversarial network, so we have the two concepts. The one is called the generator. The second one we have, it's called the discriminator, right? So discriminator basically check. Let's suppose for the first instance or the first number of time you generated a note, right? A currency that look like this. So it will generator will have. So it is a supervised machine learning, you can say, a kind of supervised machine learning technique. It will have the output, right? And it will match. Okay, this is not matching. Regenerate. You will again degenerate. It will again match. Okay, it is not matching. Again, it will say regenerate. Now it is matching. Okay, now good to go, right? So supervised machine learning, right? You can say. So this is the concept of generative adversarial network, and this is also kind of famous. Why? Because it helps to generate a synthetic data from the random noise, right? Just like you have seen here now. So here the generator will work and your discriminator will work, right? We'll check. Okay, this is not the face of the cat. Regenerated. Okay, this is also not that much of clear. Regenerated. Okay, clear but 70% regenerated. Clear but 95% regenerated. Okay, clear 100%. Right. So this is the scenario. And if we talk about that very your latest model, your uh, DeepSeek, right? So this is completely dependent upon the reinforcement learning technique, right? That is why it is much more famous, because this model have been not trained on the large amount of data set. It has been trained on the small amount of data set. It is learning the data by its own, right? From to time, whenever the user go and give some kind of query or search some kind of answer, so it use the reinforcement learning technique to basically increase its capability, or you can say the model accurateness, right? So that is why DeepSeek is very famous, because it's dependent upon this phenomenon, right? Next, we will discuss that transformer, right? So I guess we can start the transformer from the next class, right? So we will see everything, the transformer architecture, everything, right? From the very scratch, we'll do the code also. We will see the encoder, what are the decoder, and all those things, right? I hope making
Okay.
sense, right?
Yeah, yeah. You can send me this video today, right?
You can basically take this video with Samir, sir. I don't have access of this video, I guess, right? So because this video directly uploaded to his drive only. Okay.
Oh, okay, okay. No problem.
So you can ask him. So
Sure, sure.
I guess
Not
clear now this concept from starting.
sorry. Yeah, it's clear. It's clear.
Okay.
Actually, I was aware of this, but I just needed to, revision.
Kind of revision. Maybe from the next class will be far better, right? From when we will start the transformers and everything. That has a lot of concepts, right?
True, true. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.